Here we go. It's the nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com, brought to you by our friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com to download the app for Android, iPhone, and everything Galactic. And here's the crazy thing, Aaron. As good as the fried chicken is, all everybody wants to talk to me about is the sauce.
I told you.
That is a sauce that could be bottled and put in grocery stores and make Galactic Fried Chicken $1 million.
My one regret was not getting fries, because that would just be another avenue for me to consume more sauce.
And not getting a bottle of sauce to take home so that you had the sauce every day.
I had to try it first to make sure that everything was copacetic. And
turns out it was.
Yeah.
But amazing. So get to Galactic, Dayton, Kentucky. You get off at the Levee exit. You go the opposite way. You go through Bellevue, go into Dayton. It's on the right-hand side. It's phenomenal.
12 minutes from downtown.
Yeah. Aaron lives downtown and kind of like on the west side of downtown, right? Where it takes you a little bit to kind of weave across.
You have to go through
471.
You have to go through all of downtown to get to
471. And then you're still at Galactic in 12 minutes. So I did have somebody like, it's in Kentucky. I'm like, you realize Kentucky is part of downtown. It's like, it's right there.
The greater Cincinnati area.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to it. Pete Thamel, I told you last night to keep an eye on Pete Thamel's Twitter feed this morning for the unofficial announcement of Walt Stewart being hired at Cincinnati. And guess what happened this morning, Aaron?
Pete Thamel said Walt Stewart was coming to Cincinnati.
It's like I have a pretty good pulse on these things.
Weird.
It's strange. I said the same about Kerry Combs yesterday to watch Pete Thamel's Twitter for Kerry Combs' announcement. I said the same about Walt Stewart today. I did think the hilarious one was last night or this morning or whenever it was that Arkansas State had hired a new defensive line coach.
Yeah.
Wonder why Arkansas State would need to go out and hire a new defensive line coach when they already hired Walt Stewart. That seems weird.
Sorry, Butch.
Look, I think Walt is going to be a fantastic hire.
I agree.
I really, really do.
Former player, has wanted to be here, and now he gets that opportunity to come back to a school where he had a lot of promise. Things didn't go the way that he wanted them to as a player, and he gets to come back and kind of right the ship as a coach. It's kind of a fairy tale ending, if you will.
A fairy tale beginning, maybe.
However these stories are written, I'm not really sure. I feel like sometimes they have flashbacks and fast forwards and all that.
How's my mic? Is that better?
Way better.
All right. So yeah, here's the thing. Walt's gonna coach snipers. I would assume that we'll see Walt also help with the pass rushing with Greg Scruggs on the defensive line. And Walt is going to be a phenomenal recruiter for Cincinnati.
Those guys run through a lot of drills together anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes. The thing is, he is such a personable human. Like, you haven't met Walt yet, so you don't have the background that I do with him. He's one of those people you just like, every time I'm around Walt, I just want to like stand and talk to Walt for 20 minutes about whatever.
I feel like both staffs have guys like that at this point, both basketball and football.
Remember, this is, if you go back through Walt's story, Walt's mom was 12 when he was born.
That's wild.
He was adopted. He didn't have a bad upbringing, but obviously there was a lot of challenges as Walt was raised and growing up. And to be as humble, as outgoing, as refreshing of a personality, and as positive and friendly as Walt is, this is a dude that's going to be able to go into to homes and recruit and really sell Cincinnati because it means something to him. Like, this is a kid that didn't have a chance to make it from a very young age, right? Like,
Right.
when your mom is 12 and you're adopted and you go through everything that Walt went through, your odds of making it are very slim.
Mm-hmm.
And Walt made it. Now, he had a great support system with his adopted family. I know they were members of Bearcat Journal a long time ago. Hopefully we'll get them back. Hi, if they come back, hi. But to get Walt Stewart back in the fold is a big deal for Luke Fickell. And this is something that when they've had defensive line coach openings has been, played around with. And even when Greg Scruggs became the defensive line coach, there was some talk about maybe Walt becoming that director of player development, director of player personnel. But now he gets to come back. He's got an on-field coaching position. He's going to be out on the road recruiting. And it's big. And we're now, as things currently stand, the staff is set. Shall we review? Luke Fickell, head coach.
Correct.
Gino Guidugli, offensive coordinator / quarterback coach.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Cummings, offensive line coach. Mike Brown. The staff's not set. We got one spot. But Mike Brown, passing game coordinator, wide receivers coach. Darren Page, running back coach.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end, still. That one is still the one that we're waiting to see filled.
Question marks.
Question mark. Defense. Mike Trussell, co-defensive coordinator / linebackers coach. Colin Hitchler, safeties coach / co-defensive coordinator. Kerry Combs, cornerbacks coach / special teams coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Walt
Stewart, snipers. Greg Scruggs, defensive line. You always hate to deal with getting to this point of the season and losing coaches.
Correct.
I hated losing Brian Mason. I love Brian Mason. I ribbed him a little bit today when he put his goodbye to Cincinnati, and I was like, one thing I always look forward to was, you giving me shit at higher ground because I charted a field goal kick wrong, or who kicked it. Look, they'd have like 4 kickers. They all look the same. They're all 5'8", like 190 pounds. And they all tuck their numbers up into their pads.
Well, only one of them had a full leg sleeve.
Yeah, but I mean, you're watching from like the end zone or the corner. It's not the easiest thing to do to get that 100% accurate. But I loved if I just missed like one thing. Like this guy was 4 for 5. I thought this guy was 4 for 5 and the other guy was 3 for 5 or 5 for 5. And Mace would always, just in passing, he'd always walk by me and be, Cole was 4 for 5 yesterday, not 3 for 5. And he wouldn't say anything else. He would just like that was his dry sense of humor of like, I'm watching you, Brendel. And I loved it.
No,
I loved it.
For me, it's losing Perry Eliano, fantastic recruiter.
Sure.
And a guy who took the time to get to know me as not the guy who owns the website, but just a guy reporting. And, they're credentialed and there for recruiting purposes. And I think that just shows how much recruiting meant to him. So, yeah, I mean, and one of the things that we touched on is when you lose 2 good recruiters, you have to replace them with good recruiters. And I think the staff has done just that.
That's the thing. And I'll miss Mike Denbrock as well. I loved Mike Denbrock. Like, that has been no secret. One of my favorite things to do every year was sit down with Mike Denbrock and get the scouting report on all the offensive players that were coming in. He joined us on the BCJ podcast. Like, he was a friend of the site. So, but the thing you can say is you don't feel uncomfortable looking at the staff now.
Right.
After having major subtractions.
Correct.
Special teams coordinator, offensive coordinator, one of your best recruiters. Like, there could be, when you look at the new staff and you go, ooh, I don't think they got better. I think they got worse. At best, you're looking at this and going, they stemmed the tide. They made sure that it wasn't an off season of like, oh boy, right?
Well,
So
ideally, you'd like to do addition by subtraction. I think this is pretty even keel across the board right now,
Yeah.
on paper anyway. Some of that remains to be seen. That said, though, I mean, hats off to the staff for setting us up with some great guys, some great gets, and yeah, I'm excited to see the way that this plays out and just what these new guys bring to the table.
yeah, all right. You're doing your bullet points, right?
No, you're doing the bullet points.
Oh shit! I thought the intern was doing the bullet points.
Well, who's that? I'm on payroll.
Right? I didn't say you were the intern. Maybe should we get it? Look, if you're a student at UC and you're looking to get into the business, we need someone to do timestamps and bullet points.
Unreal. I'm not offering anything else to this conversation.
We'll let you sit in the podcast quietly off the screen, and you just do bullet points and timestamps. How'd you get your start in the business? Oh, you don't want to know. Basketball tomorrow night, 9:00 tip off.
What are we doing here, man? How many times do we have to do this 9:00 tip off shit?
I don't love it. I don't mind it on the road because I don't sleep. I'm gonna be up, but 9:00 tip off on the road. I get home at 12:45 in the morning. I gotta work. I gotta do a nightcap with Aaron.
There can't be too many teams that are getting stuck with this 9:00 Eastern Standard Time tip off at home.
Right.
Like, this is the second.
If you're in Tulsa, I get it. It's 8:00 there. Right.
Is the second Eastern Standard Time 9:00 tip off.
No, the other one was 9:30, Aaron. 9:30.
That's because hockey ran late. It wasn't supposed to be 9:30.
No, it was supposed to be 9:30. It was 9:45 because hockey ran late.
Whatever.
It was actually on TV.
That's how much I cared about that tip off. Clearly.
Tulsa. Dry Horn is back at Tulsa. Their last game was Saturday. They lost by 4-2 at Houston. They've lost by 5 at home against Temple, by 3 on the road at Memphis, and by 5 at SMU. So while this is a team that's probably not going to win, there's a pretty good chance we're dealing with a close game tomorrow at Fifth Third Arena.
Well, I mean, you got to win games at home that you're supposed to win, plain and simple. And you got to figure out a way if you want to be considered at all as a threat for making the tournament. And I know that, of course, with rose-colored lenses, I was saying, well, what if they win out? You can't win out without winning one at a time. And this one, like I said, it's just one that you're supposed to win at home. I know that 9:00 tip-offs are not ideal, but
the kids love them. Make no mistake, it's a pain in the ass for us.
Do they really?
They don't sleep. They're college students.
Well, until they got to get up and work out the next morning or team meeting the next morning.
Usually when you have a 9 p.m. tip-off, you schedule you have to take, so I don't know that a lot of people know this. You are required by the NCAA to have an off day every week. And like if you got a late tip like this or something along those lines, you usually take your off day the next day. So maybe their off day is tomorrow, but I don't know.
Well, I won't be in attendance. I'm not making that drive for a 9:00 tip-off.
What about your shirt?
The shirt will be gotten, just not until this weekend.
Do they have it protected for you?
It's in the office. We're good.
Okay. Make sure I'll add a bonus ad here. Home field apparel. Their Cincinnati Bearcats line of retro clothing is released on Saturday at noon. Aaron, You have seen the line. I have seen the line. It
Super dope.
is fire. It is fire.
People like Ed are going to be in trouble with their spouses because they ran over the clothing budget for the month.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, and I'm gonna buy a couple. They sent us some care packages, but they didn't send me all 15 shirts.
No.
And there's gonna be a couple that I'm going to have to just suck up and like deal with buying. There's also going to be a couple that I know Kelly and Kelsey have their eye on because they sent me a couple mediums for the girls, and they love them. So
I'm excited to get my hands and see if I got the same one as Dave did, or if I got something different.
I'm thinking we're all going to get different. That's my guess. Is they're gonna spray it out and send us all something different.
If I end up with the one that I said that I wanted,
I'm going to cut you if you end up with that one. I'm going to cut you. If you get that one and I don't, I'm texting, I'm messaging, emailing all contact forms I have at home field and being like, what the?
And if home feels curious as to which one that was, feel free to slide into my DMs at ACSmith37 on Twitter, and we can make some arrangements.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow night at Fifth Third Arena, Bearcats and Tulsa. And we'll see you here afterwards for the nightcap / Brendel's Bites. If you think I'm writing to Brendel's Bites when I get home at 1 o'clock in the morning, you don't know me that well. It's the nightcap, brought to you by our great friends at Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.